So it was a genome sequencing test to determine what type of cancer it was and if the cancer was genetic. And we found out that it wasn't genetic, which was a massive, massive relief.
But that test was the key to everything.
Yeah,
That solved everything.
everything.
Oh, without that testing, it would have been a completely different story. I
Yeah, we
mean,
would have gone through
yeah.
chemo.
So we did the biopsy, we sent off material for the normal testing, the normal standard of care, and then we also at the same time sent off stuff for whole genome sequencing some tissue, which now in England is also standard of care. And at Addenbrooke's, we offer to every child who walks through the door.
It was an emergency diagnosis, really, that she had the cancer, even though we didn't know what type. But obviously, our consultant knew after doing the tests, and we'd been blue lighted to Addenbrooke's.
Well, you think it's a nightmare, really. You don't think it's true. You just think you can't believe it's happening,
We
really,
look
more than
back and
anything.
it's just a big blur, really.
So Aubrey presented to us right at the beginning when we were starting doing whole genome sequencing and offering it as standard of care. So we sent her tumour off. Now under the microscope it was very difficult for the pathologist to tell us exactly what her tumour type was, and there were a number of possibilities. And that made treatment at the very start of her journey challenging to work out what was best. But quickly with the whole genome sequencing we got the results back. And what that showed was that her tumour was a specific type of sarcoma called rhabdomyosarcoma. And by looking at all of the information in her tumour, we were really able to tailor her treatment going forward once we got that information.
In Oliver's tumor, we found a mutation in a gene that's called PDGFR beta. It doesn't really matter what it's called so much, but once you've got a mutation in that gene, you completely leave the territory of cancer, and then what you think about is a benign tumor called a myfibroma. What was so astonishing about the results was this. The type of mutation was a very peculiar type of mutation that we could not have picked up with any other assay.
To have that testing, we didn't even need to discuss it, did we, really? It was
No,
just a
it was
do.
offered to us,
Yeah.
and we literally instantly just said, yes, go for it.
It meant that me and Paul sort of knew we hadn't passed anything down to Aubrey, and it also meant that we know our son Harry, who's just about to turn 7, is not at risk of getting this cancer also.
The whole genome sequencing information, along with the pattern of where her disease was on scans, told us that chemotherapy was the best option for her and avoided her going through unnecessary surgery and radiotherapy, which wouldn't have been of benefit to her.
It gives us so much hope, and as you can see, she's quite an active, happy little girl, and she's not laid up in bed every day. She's full of energy, and that gives us so much hope moving forward that she can try and beat this, and with the genome sequencing, we always know that there's research going into that for further treatment for her.
Because your life is changed when you find out that he's got a tumour and actually it could be cancer, it could be horrendous for him. Then you have that test in, and it was like a miracle. It was just a miracle test.
My dad picked us up, didn't he? And I just burst into tears, and he thought obviously the worst case scenario, because he thought, right, we're ready to start chemo. And he was like, oh, is it really bad news? And he hugged me. And yeah, to tell him it was good, it was good. It's good news.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolute relief on that.
Yeah.